Welcome to Out of My Mouth, the program where raw thoughts meet unfiltered conversations.
Join us as we dive into the depths of human experience, where we share stories, perspectives, and insights that just might challenge the status quo.
Get ready to laugh, cry, and ponder the world around you like never before. This is Out of My Mouth.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to Out of My Mouth. I'm Barbara Jean.
And I'm Cheryl Rogers.
And I'm Barb Dupuy.
And let us begin with our land acknowledgement. As we gather today, we acknowledge that I am currently standing on the historical land of the Wendat people, and more recently that of the Mississaugas and the Haudenosaunee nations. And it's now home to many diverse First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island. May we walk alongside our Indigenous family, recognizing our shared stewardship of the earth. Let us carry forward the spirit of unity, understanding, and resilience that we've been reminded of through our reflections. Let us hold in our hearts the intention to learn, to support, and to advocate for justice and sovereignty for us all. In doing so, we acknowledge our interconnectedness and the strength that comes from standing together in truth, respect, and love. May this intention guide us in our actions and thoughts, inspiring us to contribute to a world where the dignity and rights of all are honored. Let us be mindful of the role we play in this ongoing journey towards healing and unity. By making this acknowledgement, we strive to be allies and take an active part in reconciliation by honoring the land, the history, as well as the unique heritage and culture of the Indigenous peoples. This fosters our commitment to create a world that works for the highest and best good of all life. Please take a moment to acknowledge your personal commitment to the land you are on and the path you choose to walk going forward. Miigwech.
Miigwech. And it is my honor and privilege to welcome back Samuel Lopez, or Samantha. And they are a two-spirited man from El Salvador and grew up in the midst of the Civil War at the time of the Reagan administration. He has lived in a number of cities, and he studied theology before joining the International Development Studies program at the University of Toronto. Samantha learned about social justice from personal experience and knows about community devastation from an early age. Their films document stories of people he has met through his commitment to activism. He is the founder of the Latino group Hola, a founding member of the HIV prevention program at the Center for Spanish-Speaking Peoples, and Latinos Positivos. And Sam can tell us more about all those. I also believe Sam is coming to us from the territory of the Mississaugas, and invite him if he would like to honor his land too. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Samuel, Samantha, Sam, there, he, her. I used all of them. Is that okay?
That is okay. And it's actually more than okay. I am learning my language, which is Nahuatl, and for the third person of the singular, we only have one pronoun. So when you're referring to someone, it doesn't matter, right? We don't have a pronoun for him or for her or for it. We only
Okay.
have one, like we do in English, they. They is for everyone, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting because I just started learning the language, and I'm getting there. I know how to say hello, how are you, and where you from, and things like that.
That's
So it's coming
fabulous.
all out of my mouth.
I love it. I love it. Now, that's a language that just about went obsolete.
Yes, there was a genocide that happened in 1932. There were, we still don't know exactly the numbers, but it is estimated that at least 30,000 people were killed in 72 hours. And the persecution was towards indigenous and peasants coming from the government. And so, grandma, my paternal grandmother, is from the Nonualco Nation, and she walked away from her community with whatever amount of money she had in her hands, went to the city, bought a lot by the sewage, and so that one day I could tell you this story so that she wouldn't die.
Wow.
Yeah. And so now there's only 200 people that speak the language by it as a native language, and they are old, like very old, and we are learning from them so that the language and the culture stays alive. There's 200 of them, and there's 700 students, so we hope to make an impact.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, me
Mhm.
too. It's something I'm very proud of. I'm just starting to learn the language, but I think that the intention is, we're not gonna die anytime soon.
Nice.
Mhm.
So, can you say hello, how are you in your native tongue for us?
Yeah, as we say, for example, at this time it is afternoon, so we do things in relation to the sunlight, right? So you would say, ye ye yutak, gentinemi, and then ninimiyek, wantaha, uh, yegnusan, naha nikpiya ichan, naha nikpiya muchan tik Toronto tik Canada. Ah,
Wow. I'll tell you, it's
Good.
coming. It's coming. I don't understand
yeah,
it, but
that was an intense test, but
I
I
love
can
it.
do better than that.
No, but that's great. It's great because the way to really get the language, in is to use it as much as possible. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, and
yeah.
there are interesting parts. Language is so connected to culture, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's part of the culture. And
Mhm.
so, for example, to say uh, to greet, right? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I was saying it depends on where the sun it is located.
Mhm.
So it would vary if it is sunny or cloudy. What you say,
Oh, that's
right?
cool.
So, for
Mm,
example, if
mm.
in the morning there's no sun, you don't say yek tunal because tunal is sun. So you have to say yek tayua or yek peina, you know. And so all of that is interesting because it brings me back to where we come from. We come from a place where we are in relation with our environment, with nature, with everything seems sacred. And when it comes to numbers, the Aztecs and the Mayas were
Yes.
more than perfect when it comes to math. And so when you deal with numbers, it's complicated. 'Cause we count in 20s, we don't count in decimals. Because,
Wow. We
uh,
could have a whole show on this, Samantha.
oh, yeah, but first let me get ready.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're talking about your education right now, and you're coming to us, educating us on what you're learning, as well as there is an intention today, I believe, that you're coming with today, and providing us education on HIV.
Yes.
Would you like to start? Would you?
Of course. Ask
Well,
me. Ask
yeah,
me. Don't come to
undetectable,
my mouth.
undetectable equals untransmittable. We
Yeah.
just started having a conversation about that. So tell us a little bit more about that, because this is, my first thought was, if something is undetectable, doesn't mean that it's safe. And however, just after looking a little bit online, realizing that this is actually, there's research and evidence that speaks to this.
Yes.
Yeah, when it first, I think I had mentioned this before, but when this research on undetectable equals untransmittable, when it started, I said, to hell with it. What you mean? We have been trained to, you have HIV, you are a weapon, you are a criminal, unless we prove that you have protected the life of the other,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for the longest time, it wasn't necessarily based on the person that has the virus. It was, being treated as a criminal, and to avoid that, so we learn to have sex. Then we learn that we're not doing it correct, and that's why we have HIV. Then, you have to tell everyone, regardless of what you do, and otherwise you go to jail. And now it's like you can't pass it to anyone else. So how does that shift happen? Like, it's a
Yeah.
whole turnaround, right? And
Mm.
to train the self to these new findings is it has been a little bit difficult for me. I think that for most of us it has been like, woof, like a relief. But for me, is I haven't changed my behavior from before. When we're forced to tell others that you have it, and and make sure that everything you're doing is low risk, and all of those things now are just part of a stigma. Because before I have sex with you, which I'm not planning to, but if I did, I would.
I won't take that as an insult. See?
Ah! Okay, if I'm gonna have sex with someone, I'm not gonna say, "Excuse me, do you have diabetes?
Yeah.
What about cancer?" Because I'm not gonna get that from them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to us. Like, it's irrelevant to ask them about that. So now it is also now irrelevant for you to know if I have HIV. Wait a minute, right? Is it or isn't? So as long as you have been undetectable for more than 6 months, as long as you keep taking your meds religiously every day, and you keep a viral load undetectable for that same amount of time, then you can't pass it to anyone else. HIV, as I say, HIV ends with me. HIV is not supposed to be shared with anyone anymore, because we are taking medication, and we are being responsible to take it on a daily basis. And that is why our results when we do blood work is undetectable. So regardless of what you think of me, because I have HIV, at this moment, I'm sorry, I don't care anymore. It doesn't affect me, because you can't have it. It's mine and mine only, right? You can't get it from me. Sorry.
from you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so important because I mean, there's a couple of misunderstandings about HIV lately. One is some people go, "What, HIV? Isn't that over?" And then the other one is, well, if you have it, you're going to kill somebody if you have sex. So, coming to that place of understanding that number one, HIV has not gone away; it's just now being treated, so people aren't dying en masse. But the reality of the stigma, now the mental health issues from that are astronomical, and especially I think for people who come from religious backgrounds. Like if you're accustomed to going to church and you enjoy going to church and you want to go to church, but if somebody at church finds out you have HIV, the doors might get closed on you. Like that used to be a thing that, religion was creating part of that stigma. How does that make you feel overall? Like, what have you gone through when it comes to mental health as a result of this diagnosis, which really has nothing to do with your mental health, but has a big impact?
Yes, you know that since childhood, I have always been very open to share stories of mine, and when I have done them outside the church, I have always been concerned. What like even in these moments with you, when I say certain things, it's like immediately I go to that place and I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to send a link to this person from the church after? Or oh my God, what if these people get to see this? What are they gonna think? And I am 55, and I have been living with HIV for 23, 24 years. Right. So the fact that I still have this is because I speak about these things and I have been judged. Like I made a film about Samuel and Samantha, and that was in the 1990s. It was the first film I ever made, and it had a good impact in community because it was about how the gay community in Toronto was coming together. And then Dad found out that I had made that film and he wasn't supportive of it. I stopped making films for 10 years. Right? So it's a shame because I did it out of respect to him. And he never really got to realize that I had stopped making films because he didn't like it. So my achievements in filmmaking, for example, are I don't celebrate them with family. It's not family that gives me the you got recognition for that film. And most of my films are about HIV, about two spirits. And there was an interview I did for Latinos Positivos with 6 of their members. It's called Our Faces, Our Stories. And there was a woman there that this statement doesn't appear in the film, but she said that at one point, looking for help when she tested positive to HIV, she went to the church and seek help, like to feel better and support. And she went, hello, my name is Marisol and I have HIV. And it's like she's waiting to receive what church is made for, right? To be compassionate, to be caring, to be loving, and to not judge, but to be supportive. And instead, she was rejected, stigmatized, and treated badly. So while she was genuinely looking for God, God's acceptance of her as she is, the people of God were not accepting her.
Right.
And so she just went without that spiritual support. And so similar stories have happened to me,
Yeah.
right? And so I now in no particular circle, because here someone said this and there they didn't like that. And the thing is, all of these things that people don't like, or let's say don't like about me, is me, is part of me.
Mm.
Or if you don't like me because I insulted you, I could still also apologize and
Right.
we'll move on. But it's
Mhm.
beyond that. It's like not accepting Sam as he is.
Yeah.
And so Sam is not changing. I'm not transforming uh, Sam into what pleases you. I
Mm.
am who I am, and I want people like me to be to feel comfortable in being themselves.
Mhm.
Right? I have contributed to society in many ways that
Mhm.
are positive, and I should be happy that I have,
Mhm.
and not be focused on the rejections that I have experienced. But the truth is, humans would uh, oftentimes get stuck on that rejection or
Mhm.
that
Mm.
moment of blockage to continue. And so my insecurities come mostly from, coming out as too spirited and acknowledging that, at one point, I asked God to take me.
Mm.
Mm.
And I was still in high school. And I said, listen, I can stop looking at men.
Mm.
So why don't you just take me?
Mm.
If I'm doing what is incorrect,
Mhm.
I cannot serve you. I
Mhm.
cannot do thy work. So just take me home.
Right.
You
So
know,
once again, feeling less than, feeling abnormal as in environment, and
but
just
mhm.
not feeling loved and accepted for who you are, which I think all of us really crave, right? Being
Yeah,
loved and
Mm.
accepted for who we are.
Exactly.
and so if we think of a new world, a new world is happening with our hands. We are the builders of this new world, a new
Mm.
world in which you accept someone with a pronoun that is not the one you are used to or comfortable with, but the one they have chosen. It's not
Mhm.
about you, it's about them,
Mhm.
right? And what is about you is to accommodate to the new world.
Mhm.
This new world also has people with HIV that cannot transmit HIV to anyone. We are
Mhm.
the last ones of the game,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, yeah. You could say, oh well, we're the last. There's still HIV, and we're the ones that still have it. Yeah, but big deal. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
uh, as long as we are undetectable, then HIV should be eradicated. So when you have the United Nations or any other identities saying, we have this campaign of 90, 90, 90 or 95, 95, 95, they're talking about who is going to be left behind, which is going to be 5 or 10%. So when you think of a new world, which demographic makes 5 or 10% of the world?
Mhm.
Who are going to be the ones left behind?
Mhm.
Tribal, indigenous,
Yeah.
uh, people. So I'm like, okay. So here I was so excited that we cannot pass HIV to others, but yet uh, there are those to whom resources don't arrive on time, or they don't arrive on time to the resources,
Yeah.
right? And so, for example, people that have HIV, there are people that have HIV and don't take meds,
Mhm.
either because they don't have access to them, because uh, insurance,
Mhm.
government limitations
Mhm.
to medicate everyone, or because of whatever circumstances,
Mhm.
and they would still be having sex, and they could be trying to be as safe as they want, but they could be transmissible, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so the new diagnosed people come from probably someone who didn't know that they had HIV and
Mhm.
transmitted it to someone else,
Mm.
because there are people that don't know that they have it.
And that's how it started in the first place,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so,
Mhm.
in the first place, there was also trust that,
Mm.
if you have it, you're gonna tell me, look how handsome that guy is. He's not like, he's not going to do this without telling me.
Mhm.
And but in the meantime, it's all in the head. There's no communication. People are high, and they just wanna have sex,
Mm.
and then things happen, and
Mm.
happen different than how you expected it. It's like drugs. You wanna get high, but instead you die.
Mm.
Why? Because what they sold
Mm.
you is not what you wanted,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so you end up dead. So we can sell ideas, we can sell philosophy, right? We can
Mhm.
sell trust,
Mhm.
and in reality, it's very common, mostly in Canada. We first trust, we question after the fact,
Mhm.
right? But the first thing is you trust. I
Mm.
trust. You
Mm.
know, if I tell 12 people in a swimming pool, get out of the pool now, they probably immediately will trust and just get out,
Mm.
Yeah.
and they will ask me after,
Mm.
right?
Wow. Mhm.
So when you think of it, how do you get 12 people out of a pool? Just tell
Mm.
them.
Mhm.
Just tell them,
That's
because
a
they will
convenient
make
way.
first trust that you should, right?
Mhm.
And you will wonder after why. So that's what happened to me when I was learning about U equals U. I didn't want to believe, and eventually I informed myself enough to say, okay, it is true. Uh,
Mm.
and if I'm not gonna change the behavior from before, at least mentally, I could live without giving too much attention on how I'm going to be perceived, how others will receive the information. Because if you have to educate someone, then we do it the way we're doing it here right now.
Mm.
But if
Yeah.
you are about to have sex with someone, you're
Mhm.
just gonna say, by the way, I'm untransmissible, I'm undetectable, uh, I have
Mhm.
HIV,
Mhm.
and people would say, so be it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, or maybe not, depending how
Mm.
informed they are. And what has happened is that when HIV came about, we told the world, oh my God, there's this new thing, there's this virus around, be careful. If you do drugs, if you are on the streets, if you are black, if you are a gay man, this is the gay
Mm.
disease and all of that.
Mm.
But then we educated people how to prevent it, but we have not educated people about the stigma of now.
Yeah.
Things have changed, science has improved, and you cannot transmit HIV. So those
Right.
people that you hated before, stop hating them.
Yeah.
Go have sex with them. Fuck someone with HIV is what I say.
That's a new slogan, right?
Well, literally, seriously, don't say no.
Well, on that note, let's just take a quick little commercial break. This
Sorry.
feels like the perfect moment. You're watching Out of My Mouth, and our wonderful guest, Samuel Lopez or Samantha. And we are so delighted to have her, him, they here today. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more Out of My Mouth.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we're back.
So, Samuel, you're giving us such great education. I'm thinking of that expression from a long time ago when we were kids. You know, the telephone exercise where I'll tell someone, they tell a different story, and whatever. So what you're saying today is providing me with a great deal of education. Thank you. And I call you Samuel because you invited me to address you how I felt. And I just like the way Samuel rolls off my tongue. So thank you for that permission to do so. Also, what you're talking about going to addressing you, I'm thinking of labels and how I'm not a fan of labels. I'm married to a woman, and if somebody says that, oh, you must be a lesbian, well, I don't like to be identified that way. So a label, you know, I'm not a fan of labels. And again, you prompted that because of when I asked you how you prefer to be addressed, and you said, how you like. So anyway, back to your story, and thank you for bringing it to our attention globally.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that is great, because then I can say, so do you have a problem with me? Right? Like, you know, you're being educated. The telephone, did it break? Did the communication break, or is the message being transmitted? Yeah, that's the idea, right? That we are able. A new world can happen.
Yes.
You know, it's happening. It's we have it right here, right? And it's in our hands. And when you were saying about, you know, calling, if you know, labeling yourself lesbian or not, it makes me think of kids these days. They don't like those any labels anymore either, because you know, they don't fit in any of those. There are political aspects of, you know, in communities that are associated with those terms, like calling yourself gay, or calling yourself a lesbian. Then there was a whole movement that was created, and sometimes we're not always we, sometimes we are there, and sometimes we aren't. That's another thing, right? Like you don't always have to be where others are put in the box where others are putting you. Sometimes you are in that box, you know, like, I mean, why not have the choice? But it's good, you know, to have conversations, because that's how you know what to communicate. What is it that you know, checking with everyone first, right? How am I going to address you? You know, I don't have a problem. if I tell you to call me Sam, then everyone starts calling me Samantha. So what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
Samantha exists. Samantha has a last name too, Samantha Trench. And my sister, Mariana Trench. How did we come up with the names? Well, Mariana Trench is the biggest hall in the world. So that's how we got the name. And it's mockery, right? It's something that we use to create presence in the gay community. Ha ha ha, the biggest hall in the world. But then you will remember that there's nothing wrong with being someone that has sex with people of the same gender and so on. And that's how Ola was born. And now Latino Positivos, that is housed at the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation, it has 700 members.
Wow.
There are ASOs, like a service organization, that don't have 700 members.
Yeah.
Positivos is not an agency, but there are 700 names on their list. So it means that even when you don't have 700 together at once, they do whatever activities they do. They are serving a great amount of people each time, because 20 could be a small group compared to 700, but 20 is a good amount of people to to gather and do something with. So yeah, and thank you for acknowledging Samuel. And I'm happy to meet you, Margot, because I never met you before. You seem
I'm
like
happy
a
to.
cool woman.
I'm happy to have met you, to be meeting you too. I think every time we would get together, we would be meeting each other again. I just have that impression.
Yeah, I believe so too. And I have to make this comment. The hand that Cheryl has,
The hair?
the hand,
Oh, the hand? Oh, and the seat? Yeah.
it's a seat.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it on a piece of wood.
Okay,
And
beautiful.
it's only this big. It's not a chair, but it's that what I like of it, and that's why I bring it up, is that the what it says is like, come, right?
It's open.
Sit here.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it together, right? And it's welcoming, right? It's calling you. It's like, come here, like I'll hold you. I'll hold you like I will, and that is a beautiful statement. I don't even know where I have mine anymore, but I used to keep it as a dish, so that I put condoms there, so that people felt like, come grab it, the hand is open, Look who I have here.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
she's
wait.
so cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's
beautiful.
undetectable.
Okay, so what I picked up was, because I didn't understand what undetectable means, and what you're saying is that when you have a blood test, it doesn't pick up that there is AIDS in your blood.
Yeah.
There's no virus in your blood at the moment because of the therapy, the art. I think I saw it was art. I don't know what it stands for. And I saw that there was a zero, nobody caught AIDS when 1,700 and something people were on that medication.
Yeah. So basically what happens with HIV is that medication and science has advanced. It's so much better now than at the beginning when people were taking only SCT. People were dying from taking medication, right? And so now medication we take brings our viral load so low that when you go for the test, for the blood work, it can't detect it because there's such a small amount of repetitions that the test is not good enough to detect that. So it means that you have less than 40 repetitions of HIV.
So basically, is it saying that you're not positive? You're negative?
No, what it says is that the virus goes into this cell, and it goes inside and changes the DNA,
Okay.
right? So there is a mother cell that we have not been able to change the DNA of. But every repetition, every baby she makes, medication eats it up.
Okay.
So there's only one little
Mothership.
mother there that for a couple of hours would have some babies, but they won't last,
Okay.
because they get killed with the medication. And
Mhm.
so when you try to detect HIV, you won't find it in the blood because it's almost non-existent. And what
Okay.
that also means is that in semen there is barely any HIV, and it's so weak
Mm.
that when if it goes to another body, right, it will die because it doesn't have no, it's not strong enough,
Right.
because it's a lot for
Mm.
a virus to go from one body to another body. It's a big
Mhm.
change, and to survive it has to be strong.
Mhm.
But with what happens is that the amount of HIV that is in us now is
Mhm.
barely any. It just
Mhm.
doesn't. It stays with us. It just doesn't go away
Mhm.
to share. It's not for
Right.
sharing.
Right. And so we were talking about the stigma and people not knowing this really advanced science, and how we basically, how do we educate them other than in these small pockets? Like, is there something is there some way that it's getting out there so that people with HIV are less stigmatized?
Well,
Can I just stop for 1 second?
yeah.
Because there's language in here, and before you continue on the education here, you say HIV, and when Cheryl was talking about it, she said AIDS. And can you clarify that before going further?
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I have HIV. And if I have opportunistic infections that I'm not able to heal, and that I have a viral load of millions, and my strength, my immune system is weak and cannot heal itself, but rather it creates more infections, then you could be diagnosed having AIDS, right? Which is a syndrome that comes from HIV, right?
Mhm.
HIV is the virus, and
Mhm.
AIDS is a syndrome. That nowadays you could start taking medication if you have AIDS, and get back to just having HIV.
HIV.
But
Wow.
before if you got to having AIDS, it was not reversible,
You die.
Mm.
right? And
Okay.
so it was like, okay, it's your time, get ready. So
Mhm.
now it's like you're getting a good call,
Mhm.
answer that call because
Right.
you can get rid of it,
Yeah.
right? And so it means commitment to a medication that works on you. And now there's injectables that you do once every so often, like a month or 2 months. There are so many different ways to survive with HIV and thrive. You know,
Mhm.
it before it was just a question of, "Oh, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it?" And I think people now can focus on what can I do with my life.
Mhm.
How can I study or get this job
Mhm.
or travel the world and the seven seas,
Mhm.
and have a family or anything. It's like
Yeah.
HIV is not something that can stop you of continuing to have a beautiful life anymore. And so if, the difference is that if you get to AIDS, you could and will die of it if you
Mhm.
do nothing about it,
Okay.
right? But medication now it stops that. So to believe in undetectable equals untransmissible, eventually we got the World Health Organization to make a statement so that stigma can start being removed, because we put all this time in, educating others about HIV, but now how many of us know that you cannot get it anymore, right? And so they made the statement of zero risk. So we say U equals zero risk, because that's a quote from them, that there is a zero risk of acquiring HIV by having sex with someone that has HIV.
Okay.
Well, and the stigma comes, I think, from, it was such a death sentence to begin with. And so the amount of fear that was presented through the media and everything, it'd be really nice if the same amount of energy was put into U equals zero, that was put into creating the fear in the first place, which was justified. I mean, people were dying. So I get that. But I think the stigma has resulted in depression and anxiety and feeling other, like you can't go to church, you can't be around your friends. I think the idea of stigma, it's really going to take a fair bit of work on everyone's part to get educated. We need to push for that, I think.
Absolutely.
In terms of mental health, at the beginning, because I acquired this like 24 years ago, it was still a death sentence, right? And so it affected me. The diagnosis affected me mentally, depression, and I did all the wrong things, that the mind reacts to do. I wanted to travel, and I booked myself to travel, go away, drink more than I used to, experience substances that I never had experienced before. But eventually, it's a world of isolation, because I'm not encountering the world. I'm having contact with this little group that doesn't judge me, right? But I'm not being present in society as before, or in my full capacity, because uh, dealing with rejection, might as well not go. Having to tell these people that I have HIV, oh, why have sex? It's an experience of rejection in my own house. And so mentally, it has made a big uh, up a turnaround of how to how to digest the information is different, but it has not healed my mind of I don't have a perfect mental health, right? It just has me.
The rejection, right? You experience so much rejection and unacceptance, and to heal from that is very, very difficult.
Yeah, and even if I now say to hell with rejection, deep inside, it's not like I enjoy it, right? It's but I am, I have been an open book from very long ago because of criminalization. Criminalization was what really did it for me. It's like, okay, you caught me with this one, because having to feel like a criminal, being labeled, you are a criminal. And then it's stories like what happened in Rwanda, where they have an army of people with HIV going to transmit HIV to other people. Then it's like, I'm also one of them. I'm someone with HIV. I'm just not doing what they're doing. Or when they put on the front page of the newspaper, someone is in court because they didn't tell others that they had HIV, then it brings all of us to the front page. Every time someone is there, I am there too. And so those moments I don't have anymore, but the flashback
Mhm.
they are there, whatever.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that what has helped me is being more involved in the movement and uh, in the field of HIV,
Mhm.
whether
Mhm.
it's research, whether it's peer work, or being part of a board. The
Mm.
thing is, we also have to use the knowledge and the wisdom of the living experience or the lived experience as equal, if not as more, as someone who learns everything from the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
If not more, because learning from a book and having an experience is two very different things. Yeah, one is for me, one is intellectual and one is internal. It's
it's
an
more personal,
experience. It's more personal.
and
Absolutely.
and you can put a face to it.
Yeah.
So another one, to hell with the stigma. It's like, uh, you if you have been learning everything from a book,
Yeah.
all you know is medical,
Yeah.
right? Tell me about the last person with HIV that you share, food with,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or who was the last person with HIV that cooked for you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
or literally, who is the last person with HIV that you had sex with,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Mhm.
how uh, do we believe? Do we change? Do we trust? Or how do we act?
Yeah.
Whatever we do, we have to do it without fear.
Yeah.
That's more of the message. Being safe, there's nothing wrong with being safe. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
What is not right is to keep stigmatizing people, thinking that they are, dirty, or that, to have the fear that I'm going to get something from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And because one person did something this way doesn't mean that everybody who has HIV is going to behave the same way.
That's
And
the problem. Yeah, that's the
this
problem we had with what this example of the front page of a newspaper,
yeah.
right? The Toronto Sun would
Yeah.
have the face of the person that is going to jail,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, now, you are labeling all of us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, by all means, it is a tool that you could use.
It can be. It can
Yes,
be.
it can be a tool.
Yeah.
It could be a gun.
Hmm.
There are many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
But those of us who have HIV and live here, we are, uh, we have, doctors. We have places to check where we are at,
Hmm.
and people in reality don't volunteer to transmit HIV.
Of
You
course.
know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
don't want to give you HIV. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to have what I have. It's mine. You know, uh, and
I'm not sharing, darn it.
exactly. I'm not sharing. I want to be part of the movement that is gonna say we were the last ones, and now no one else is gonna have it.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
I
the end
love
of a war. You return the guns to, a symbolic
Hmm.
place where they're gonna be burned, and
Hmm.
there's no more killings.
Hmm.
That's what you hope. And so, it's like the story of, my grandma, who was persecuted in the 30s.
Hmm.
Uh, they could have killed her voice at that time, but the cry of the
Hmm.
people is perseverant. And
Hmm.
now there are people that are learning the language,
Hmm.
right? And so it's, it, you know it, everything is possible for the good or for the bad. But
Right.
what is wrong is to believe the people purposely would volunteer their HIV to you, because
Right.
that's
That
not.
people would want to harm you and use it against you.
It's like, what you
Yeah.
get out of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting in our society, we tend to, um, there is a lot of focus on, there's bad people and there's evil things going on, but the truth of the matter is the majority of people at their core are good. People don't go out of their way just to harm someone for the sake of it. Is there somebody out there who would do that? Yeah, but not the majority. But the way this has been, blown up has created a whole thing where if a person has HIV, then automatically they're a criminal. And I think that is such a horrible way of sort of whitewashing an entire group of people. And it's no business what your health status is. That should be up to you. So all of this is such a, we need to promote.
Yeah.
And there's more than 60,000 people in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a large number of people that you would want to avoid if that's what's going to happen. Recently, someone here downtown Toronto said to me, I hate fags. I hate them. And I'm like, man, you have to move out of town. Because we're not going away.
Left.
Sorry?
We have 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you want people to take away from this interview?
I want them to think of the words of Mark. You know, it is important to acknowledge people not by their labels, but by the substance of their character, right? It is important for others to go if they have to go the extra mile, do it, but to allow ourselves to first see how is it that I end up being connected with this other person. There's gotta be a good reason why, rather than live on this judgment of the other. And of course, the world is killing itself one to the other between cousins and brothers. The rest of us who are not holding those guns, we can work, contribute to have peaceful ways of meeting and enjoy encounters. I have no reason why to hate. Like, if I don't like what you are or you say, move out of town, I said to that person. But you say, we're not going away. We're here to stay.
We're here.
And so I hope we have a good Pride because it's coming up.
Yes, it is.
There's so many other activities that are happening that are very interesting. I just joined a research group with Metropolitan University. I'm very excited about life, and I want everyone to be excited. Enjoy life. There's so much good in it that, at the moment that your brain starts lacking serotonin, try to think, oh my God, I am awake, I am here, and there's going to be a reason why. No one said it was going to be easy. It's just worth it.
It is worth it. Thank
you. Beautiful.
Mark, do you have a final thought?
Changing the world with our hands. Love that. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cheryl?
For me, I think, if we could just be more curious and willing to learn and open-hearted rather than being judgmental and so negative. Just move from that negativity and judgment to curious and wanting to learn more.
Oh,
when you're feeling curious, call me.
Way to go, Sam. Well, thank you, Samuel. I love you, and I'm so grateful you were here. Mark and Cheryl, my beloved sisters, I'm so grateful to be back after missing while I was sick. And for all of you watching, hey, don't miss every episode, because man, what comes out of our mouth is worth hearing. Anyway, have a great week, everybody. You're watching Out of My Mouth on the New Thought Media Network. See you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.